Welcome back to Dinar Community Channel. It's official. The Iraqi dinar is being positioned as a globally recognized trade currency. And this time, it isn't coming from anonymous sources or insider whispers. It's been confirmed by none other than Iraq's Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. In front of a crowd of foreign investors, regional leaders, economic reform architects, and international observers, al-Sudani declared that Iraq's national currency will be fully integrated into global trade frameworks. For a country that once operated under heavy sanctions, dollar dependency, and economic isolation, this marks a seismic shift. For decades, Iraq's monetary system was tightly constrained by a lack of recognition and financial sovereignty. Even after the fall of Saddam Hussein and the rebuilding of state institutions, the dinar remained relegated to domestic use, its value artificially suppressed and tethered to the US dollar for oil trade. But now, in 2025, a convergence of geopolitical strategy, economic modernization, and monetary reform has brought Iraq to the edge of full currency recognition on the global stage. At the core of this shift is Iraq's push for monetary independence. The announcement by Prime Minister al-Sudani wasn't just symbolic, it was operational. According to the Central Bank of Iraq, systems are already live that allow for IQD-based cross-border settlements. Infrastructure has been upgraded to comply with international anti-money laundering standards. Iraq is now SWIFT compliant, regionally connected through real-time gross settlement systems, and backed by over $100 billion in foreign reserves. The world's financial architecture is taking note. International financial organizations including the IMF, World Bank, and Bank for International Settlements have assisted Iraq in setting up this framework over the past 2 years. The Central Bank of Iraq, once heavily criticized for its lack of transparency, has emerged as a modernized institution with audited financials, streamlined digital banking regulations, and integration with global correspondent banking networks. For IQD holders who've waited years, some over a decade, this announcement represents a long-awaited tipping point. Regional powers are already responding. Trade ministries in Jordan, Turkey, Iran, and the UAE have confirmed that bilateral settlement agreements are being updated to include the dinar as a payment option. Iraq's Ministry of Oil has begun experimenting with oil contracts denominated in IQD, a groundbreaking move that could mark the beginning of a broader de-dollarization effort across the Middle East. Simultaneously, Iraqi banks have opened foreign currency desks and hedging instruments, enabling international investors to begin transacting in dinar in a controlled and regulated environment. In the background, global banks are quietly preparing. According to multiple credible leaks, major institutions such as JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, Wells Fargo, and HSBC have internally activated currency desks for the Iraqi dinar. Internal training documents, private memos, and foreign currency procedures have been updated to reflect the dinar's new status. While these banks have not made public announcements due to non-disclosure agreements and regulatory timelines, insiders confirm that appointment-only exchanges are being planned, and client portfolios containing dinar are being reassessed. For IQD holders, the implications are massive. This isn't just a policy change, it's a complete shift in valuation logic. When a currency is used in global trade, demand increases. When demand increases and supply is controlled by a central authority with solid reserves and a real economy behind it, value goes up. We're not just talking about a jump. From 1,000 Iraqi dinars per dollar to 500. Analysts are now projecting potential par or near-par valuations, especially under asset-backed trade agreements tied to oil, gold, and agriculture. This also brings us to structured exchange windows. Sources close to government financial planners suggest that, post-announcement, there will be a tiered system for IQD exchanges. This system could include public rates available to everyone, market rates determined by Forex platforms, and contract rates accessible only through private appointments, wealth management channels, or pre-qualified groups. These contract rates, which may exceed public values by 30% to 200%, could come with terms, non-disclosure agreements, lock-up periods, or commitments to reinvestment in Iraq's reconstruction. Another crucial development is the establishment of regional IQD redemption centers. Leaked documents show that designated financial institutions in the US, Europe, and the Gulf states will serve as authorized IQD exchange hubs. These centers are being outfitted with currency verification scanners, forensic validation tools, and armed security for high-value transactions. If you're holding a significant amount of IQD, This means you won't be walking into your local branch with a Ziploc bag of notes. You'll likely need a pre-scheduled appointment, KYC documentation, tax identification, and proof of origin for your currency. The Prime Minister's announcement also included a roadmap for expanding Iraq's digital banking sector. Over $2 billion has been allocated for fintech infrastructure to enable mobile wallets, cross-border payments, and decentralized contract execution. Iraqi banks are being encouraged to issue IQD-denominated cards tied to international payment networks. This move will allow the dinar to function not just as a settlement currency, but as a digital transactional currency for imports, exports, remittances, and more. Now let's zoom in on what IQD holders are doing in response. Smart investors are securing their notes in fireproof safes, double-checking for authenticity features like holograms, watermarks, and security threads. They are gathering receipts, certificates of authenticity, and records of acquisition. Legal trusts are being formed in advance to protect assets from taxation and liability. Tax attorneys are reviewing scenarios ranging from long-term capital gains to structured payout annuities. CPAs are preparing FBAR disclosures, wealth managers are setting up multi-jurisdictional structures, and estate planners are writing generational clauses into new living trusts. There is a common theme among those preparing: privacy. No one wants to be targeted once this wealth shift becomes public. OPSEC operational security protocols are being adopted even among civilian investors. VPN usage, private email servers, encrypted messaging, and private asset managers are replacing casual internet forums and public disclosures. People are talking less and doing more. In addition to wealth management, many are also exploring humanitarian reinvestment opportunities. In interviews with high-level IQD holders, a clear pattern is emerging. This isn't just about making millions. It's about deploying wealth with impact. Plans include funding housing in Mosul, clean water projects in Basra, and digital infrastructure in Najaf. Others are forming donor-advised funds and mission-based family foundations aimed at rebuilding Iraq while preserving post-RV wealth in legally protected vehicles. Back inside Iraq, the optimism is palpable. Real estate is booming. Private equity firms from the UAE and Saudi Arabia are investing in logistics, infrastructure, and fintech startups. Baghdad's skyline is growing, and there is a new confidence on the streets. The IQD is appearing in cross-border contracts, international FX platforms are testing IQD-paired algorithms, and companies are being encouraged to hold reserves in dinar instead of dollars. The paradigm is shifting, and Iraq is finally leveraging its strategic position at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. It's important to note that this transformation didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of quiet negotiations, behind-the-scenes pressure, and a slow de-dollarization process. Iraq strategically positioned itself by partnering with the BRICS alliance, creating bilateral trade corridors outside of the Western banking system, and increasing its gold reserves to back the dinar with real assets. The groundwork has been laid, and now, the fruit is ripening. If there's one takeaway for IQD holders, it's this: the window of speculation is closing, and the era of verification is here. Your IQD is no longer just a bet, it's a recognized currency of a rebounding nation. Whether you hold $10,000 or $10 million worth of dinar, the opportunity is real, but the strategy must be airtight. As we close, understand this isn't just a revaluation, it's a revelation. Iraq is stepping back into its rightful place on the world economic stage. For those who've waited, watched, and prepared, the path forward is becoming clearer than ever. The next steps you take will define whether you simply profit or truly prosper. So don't wait for the news to catch up. You've just heard it directly. Prepare accordingly, because when the world begins trading in dinar, you'll want to be ready before the line forms. Like and subscribe Dinar Community channel for more videos.